lot of drama as the Oilers now on the brink of elimination at the hands of the Anaheim Ducks after a controversial 4-3 overtime decision. We have so much to discuss right here on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream post-game show on Edmonton Sports Talk. We are live on location at Boston Pizza, 170th Street. Tom Gazzola, Reid, Wilkins here. You got Ben Thomson back at EST Global HQ, and Shawn Belle, our game analyst, will be hopping on shortly as the Oil fall in a very exciting game, a disappointing game in Oil Country, and one that a lot of people have a lot to say about. We can see it via the inbox and the nasty chat already. We want you to join the conversation, 780-218-9999. Of course, if you're watching on YouTube, get into the nasty chat. The inbox brought to you by Capital GMC Buick, Edmonton's highest volume GMC store, the dealership of choice for Trent Frederick and Jack Roslovic. Check out capitalgmcbuick.com and experience the difference. All right, boys. I mean, we have to talk about that decision by the officials on the ice. To rule that a goal when none of them were even close to seeing it. Guys, let's not kid ourselves. It was over the line, but the strategy to call it a goal, despite the fact you could clearly tell none of them could see if it was over the line or not, interesting. Then, as I said to you, Reid, before we went to air, you call it a goal on the ice so it automatically gets reviewed, and then the right call is made by the off-ice official. So you basically take it out of your hands and put it into the hands of the off-ice officials. That's what I think these refs did. And if you want to talk about how crappy the officiating is in the National Hockey League, that's fine. The bar is set very, very low. I want to preface it with that. The bar is very low when it comes to officiating in the NHL. They're spooked, they're scared, their egos, whatever. So I'm not going to argue with anyone that the refs suck in the NHL. I'm not going to say that they're against the Edmonton Oilers and for the Anaheim Ducks. I just say they are not good on a night-to-night basis in pretty much every single game across the National Hockey League. All right, really quickly before we get to Reid and Belzy and Benny, GCL Diesel, of course, presenting sponsor of the pre- and post-game shows and providers of the best diesel engine components around, from turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years. Reid, your thoughts, then Belzy, jump in, and I want your thoughts. Fire away, boys. Go ahead, Reid. Rick.
Well, yeah, I mean, very, very surprised that they called it a goal on the ice. I believe it was Jake Brink, the official, who was to Jarry's left and then came in behind the net and looked like he wanted to look.
He had no clue what was
and he
going
had
on.
his whistle in his mouth. I don't think he ever blew it. And then I believe he kind of then said, okay, the play is over. And then they discussed things and they said that's a goal. I was surprised about that because I think if he would have thought it was over the line,
he would
have been emphatically pointing, and the Ducks would have been sure about it. So I was surprised it was called a goal on the ice. That's the only part of this where I would question the officials.
That's why I think they want to they called it a goal on the ice, and they're passing the buck off to the off-ice officials.
Yeah, I mean,
that's how I see it. You talking to Dave Jackson?
Just a touch with, I mean, we'll see. We'll see about that.
Okay.
I mean, I guess they have to check with the other officials.
But, I mean, they showed the view, and none of them are even looking.
No, but they could say, okay, did you see it get kicked? Is the net on? I don't know. They could ask for a bunch of other stuff.
Okay.
Now, having said that, I think it was over the line.
Yes, so do I.
I think even if they'd waved it off, I mean, it's...
Yeah.
I mean, that's in.
That's in.
So I think if they would have waved it off and reviewed it, they still would have counted it. It's like if the puck's in the glove, but the whole glove's in the net, they call it a goal. Weird goal to lose on. I'll save my other thoughts because I know Belle wants to jump in.
There's some
this too.
Issues there. Yeah, Belzy, hop in on this. The decision-making process and the outcome from that last sequence that led to the goal.
Yeah, it didn't really make sense at all as to why he decided to call it. But what it seemed like to me is as he was coming around, like the Ducks were pretty emphatic about the fact that they scored that goal, and it almost seemed like he just was like, oh, like they're pretty serious about this goal. Maybe that's the decision. Maybe they felt like they scored. But very, very odd play. But it was a goal. Like
It was.
It's hard to argue. Did it cross the line? Did it not? Skate blades in front. It was a goal, and now you've got yourself in a situation where you're coming back to Edmonton down 3-1 against a team that looks way hungrier than you do. That, I think, at the end of the day, goal or no goal, like that's probably the biggest issue we have is the team that they're playing. It looks way hungrier than they do. It's crazy to me.
On that winning goal, it was off a face-off. Controversy, whatever, after the play had happened. What led up to it, Frederick gets stripped of the puck. He's got full possession of the puck at the Oilers' blue line. Gets stripped. It goes back the other way. Paling just throws it on net. It bounces off a nurse's skate and then, probably rattles through Jarry's pads and then settles over the goal line. The fact that he got stripped 3 feet from the blue line is what should piss most people off. But obviously, it's the goal line, the call, the non-call, the review. But the fact that we got to that point was because Trent Frederick had full possession and got stripped of the puck at his own blue line, boys.
But
that's Tom, a huge problem.
That was happening all game long.
But you can't do it. You can't do it in those moments.
You break down that particular play, and I'm not going to disagree with you on that. You can't do that. But let's be honest, that was happening all game. There was times where all of a sudden, it's one Oiler defenseman's back with the puck. There's a forecheck from the Ducks, and then they have 2 more guys in there supporting the puck, and you don't even have another Oiler in the screen. It was happening all game long, and it's just like you watch this game, and it's just like, what's going on right now? Consistently on the breakouts, everybody's blowing the zone. They're 2 zones apart, trying to make a pass 2 zones apart. You're playing right into the hands in the speed game of the Ducks. It's been very interesting to watch. But yeah, I do agree with you. You can't turn that puck over there. It's like it's a veteran player, veteran team. They know better.
They should know better.
They should know.
Should, because they're getting burnt like this game.
But it's all 3 other games. All game long.
All right. Reid had some talking points while we were watching the game in regard to how it was shifting towards the Ducks taking over after a good start from the Oilers. Just to give one more visual, and I know we're going to get to a bunch of text, don't worry, but we're going to put it up on the screen. I sent it. It was from Chris Johnston. I sent it to Benny. There's the image. There's the image, guys. All right? It's clearly over the line.
Yeah, I mean, unless the puck grew a nipple, it's not in.
Yeah. It's in.
Facts. It's in.
It's in. Now, here's the other thing, too. They have this thing called COSM that the NHL has utilized, I think, for a year or 2. It is like a 360 view, like these high-def cameras that create a 360-degree view. I don't know. They don't use it on the broadcast. I saw one time that the National Hockey League put together a video using that 360-degree video. It looks like when we used to play the NHL series, when the young guys play NHL 26 or whatever, and you know how you can control the camera to any angle around the ice as you play? That's basically the technology that the NHL has installed. But I don't know. You don't see it on the broadcast. I know that they have it, and they've made it public with the one video they posted. I think there's a sequence that they posted about 2 months ago. And I don't know, maybe they use that, and they could clearly see it over the line. But, I mean, you're looking at that image that Benny had just put up on our screen, and you're like, there's no way that's not in. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm also not going to blow smoke up people's butts and tell them that, no, it's not it.
I understand if Oilers fans were upset, but if Edmonton took that shot and it was under Dostal's skate like that, you would want it to be a goal.
Good point. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a goal.
Okay. I'm going to rattle off a few texts, and we're going to get to why we got to overtime in this loss that the Oilers now find themselves on the brink of elimination after. Here we go. Oh, yeah. Buckle up, baby. It is the Capital GMC Buick inbox 780-218-9999. Timbo says, take a drink every time the Oilers blindly rim the puck in the defensive zone. Alcohol poisoning by the second TV timeout of the first period. That's a great point. GSB said the ref who called it a goal in 5 seconds of review wasn't even the one who was behind the net. Not even going to disagree with that. I don't know how they came to the conclusion it was a goal. My theory is they call it a goal so they could put it in the hands of the review.
No, the ref who announces it is the senior guy, I believe.
He's the senior
doesn't have to be
ref.
the guy making the call.
Yeah.
So that's not a problem.
It's like the head in an umpiring crew. It's the head guy.
He's the top guy.
Yeah. This one texting in said, no name on it, says the refs have been nothing short of first-rate garbage. The stuff Anaheim gets away with that the Oilers would never is mind-blowing. None of it would matter if the team would stop feeling sorry for themselves, go take a hockey game. Enough pouting and sulking. And yeah, listen, guys, I'm not gonna tell you the refs are good or adequate. I don't think they are in the National Hockey League, whether it's an Oiler game or it's a Columbus Blue Jacket game, Columbus versus Nashville on a Wednesday night in January. The low bar that is set by the refs in the NHL is very consistent. Twitter Mary, who is here with Dave, great to see them, says the Oilers played well for the first 15 minutes of the game. After that, shrug emoji, signed Twitter Mary. And that's where I'll hand it off to you and Bellsy Reid, because you noticed that the game was shifting in the Ducks' favor as momentum started to swing that they earned.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the Ducks are flat out better than the Oilers. I didn't think I'd be saying that. They're flat out better than the Oilers, or at least they're playing better.
Yes.
I mean, they are deserving of this 3-1 lead. I mean, the Oilers did enough tonight to put themselves a shot away from maybe not a grand theft, but a mild theft. I mean, after Edmonton went up 2-0, Anaheim was clearly the better team. Like Edmonton, I believe the shots were 6-3. Edmonton at one point, I believe they put on the screen they were 8 or 9-5.
Yeah,
for the Oilers at one point in the first period. Anaheim outshot Edmonton 38-27.
it was 7-3 Edmonton.
7-3 Edmonton
after
at one
10
point.
minutes.
The shots were 38-27. Last game, the shots were 39-26 or 28 or something.
Yeah.
I checked Natural Stat Trick. 5-on-5, the Corsi, the shot attempts were 29-23. High danger chances were close, 7-5 for Anaheim, but still in favor of Anaheim. So that's how you win a close game or win a 7-game series. You're a little bit better every game. Maybe you don't win every game, but you're doing enough to chip away and get more chances, and hopefully your opportunities go in. And the Oilers just can't check well enough when they do have the lead. I mean, after they went ahead, they spent almost no time in Anaheim's end. No. And then, plus, they don't defend well enough or pass the puck well enough out of their own end.
Reid, can I jump in for a sec?
Of course, sorry.
Just a point that you made there where you mentioned, like, they don't check well enough. I just think it's a flat-out unwillingness to do it. Because there's been so many times where the guys were lined up, and instead of just going through them, they all of a sudden, hey, here's a TV turn, and they try to get back up the ice. Like, the teams that have always given the Oilers problems are the teams that have always been the most physical, and they've never let them off the hook. And what's happening right now, the minute you went up 2-0, all of a sudden, what happens? Anaheim turns up the heat. They start forechecking harder. They finish literally every single hit.
Thank you.
And they didn't let the Oilers off the hook. And every single time when you're skating back as a defenseman and your lips are up against the glass, all of a sudden you're like, okay, I got to get rid of this puck as fast as I possibly can. It's not happening on the other side. There's too many times where the Oilers are letting guys off the hook, and that's a big problem. So I agree with your take, Reid, where it's, they're not checking well enough, but I think it's unwillingness to actually want to do it because it's hard.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. There's some issues with commitment, concentration, focused alertness, whatever you want to call it.
Intestinal fortitude.
Yeah. And it's
testicular fortitude.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just like, I don't know. I mean, I'm watching this from an Edmonton perspective, and I'm here at Westgate BP with a lot of Oilers fans, but it never, as this series has gone on, it never feels like the Oilers are the team with the initiative. Even when they have the lead, It's different to have the lead as opposed to have the initiative. Like, it always feels like Anaheim's going to get back in it. Edmonton can't quiet it down. Even today, if Edmonton goes up 3-0, it's probably game over.
Yeah.
But they can't make that key play at either end of the ice.
They can't kill a penalty either. And that cost them. The first 2 Ducks goals were power play goals.
They gave up a lot of time and space. A lot of time and space. So when you look at the power play goals, like the one that Gauthier scores there, he has enough time to basically walk from down low, roll up, get to the dot, and then just rip a shot. There was nobody in the lane. There was nobody pressuring. And I do honestly think that they're playing, the strong side defenseman shade to the back side, so you're giving the goaltender less to work with.
They've been doing that for a while.
There's got to be a little bit more pressure. And I text you and Benny, and I'm like, man, they're getting seamed to death. Like, every single time, it's just cross ice. And then all of a sudden now this is when things open up, and then you collapse, and you're trying to find ways to prevent something from happening. But now you're just giving up grade A opportunities. If you go back and you watch that tape on their kill, it is crazy how they're able to just walk down Main Street and rip a shot without somebody just being there or trying to disrupt it with their stick or even having a little bit of pressure. It's not Olay defense, but it's the sagging off, trying to protect because they're worried about the middle of the ice so much that they're allowing these guys to just walk down and rip shots. And it's like, guys can shoot the puck in the NHL. It's not always just the top guys that can pick those spots. Like, everybody's been able to pick those spots. So, hey, you're on the power play. Generally speaking, those are top guys. It's not a recipe for success. I can promise you that on the PK.
Reid made a comment to me. We were just briefly talking late in the third period, heading towards overtime, and he said, geez, they're backing in a lot. The Oilers are backing in a lot. And they're allowing. It was Cutter Gauthier, like literally 30 seconds after you said that, had a great opportunity. Jarry made the save. I think Cutter Gauthier put it into Jarry's chest. He made the stop. That's the most important thing. Why are they backing in, Bellsy? Why do they keep backing in?
Because they're just trying to keep people in front of them, and they give up stuff for free every single time. And when they get the lead, it just seems like they want to stop and keep guys to the outside. But the gaps have got to be better. Like, it's a problem. And it's the same thing when we talk about when the Oilers, when teams decide to do like the backup against the Oilers, and you see that they just keep coming at you in wave after wave after wave. Well, now they're doing it to a team that's got more speed than them. And it seems to me like they're doing it because they're saying, well, I don't think we're as fast as this particular team. And so we got to find ways to, keep them in front of us. That's what it seems like. Not saying that's true, but that's what it seems like.
Capital GMC Buick inbox 780-218-9999. And then I want to hear from Benny Thomson, who probably has a lot to say after that one. The Oilers fall 4-3 in overtime to the Anaheim Ducks. Down 3-1 in this series. Is Tuesday's game the final game of the season? I don't want to think so. I don't think so, but we have a lot to discuss before we even get to that point. Kyle texting in says, I agree that there's no way that puck isn't all the way over the line, but the official had absolutely no way of knowing if the puck was across the line on the ice. So I think it was a bad call on the ice, then the league couldn't salvage that mess. That's Kyle's opinion on that one. GSB texting in, McDavid line also getting outclassed by the fourth line. Wasn't even a thought in my mind before this series started. The Oilers are playing way too passive, letting the Ducks have shots from the point, and they are winning every bounce. The Oilers are playing like they're playing against the LA Kings, but they're playing against a way faster team. That's from GSP. Stupider Trent says, quote-unquote, veteran team. How many Oilers have airplane tickets booked for vacation by tomorrow morning? They played a lot of hockey in the last few years, and frankly, I'm tired of watching hockey. Time for everyone to get a rest. So stupider Trent.
Oh, that's a nice thought.
He's bowing out. This one, no name on it, says, how hurt is McDavid? He showed some good speed bursts a couple of times, but he doesn't seem to have it right now in general. And they showed him wincing and taking those like circles, doing some circles around the bench during TV timeouts, kind of testing out, I don't know, his feet, his ankles, knee, whatever it is. Something's hampering him, and he doesn't look like he's 100% healthy. Not that anybody really is this time of year. EJ texting in says Ekholm should be on a beach somewhere in Finland. Ken Hitchcock probably. It's a good one. And then EJ says someone mentioned the loss of Henrique changed the whole series. Very good point. Listen, man, if you think Adam Henrique getting hurt is changing the whole series, I think that's a cheap excuse.
But not having Dickinson in games 2 and 3 could have changed the series.
Well, Jason Dickinson was a difference maker in this game for a certain.
But still, I wonder how much he really has.
Again, he's banged up. But a guy that Edmonton fans wanted to fire off into the sun, Adam Henrique, isn't the reason why they're losing. Well, I hope EJ's joking, because EJ was busting jokes prior to that. But I don't believe that for a second. Could he help the PK? Yeah, but the PK is now what? It was 50% going into this game. The penalty kill now, after going 50% tonight, has given up, 6 goals on 12 opportunities? That's pathetic. That is pathetic. And if you think Adam Henrique is going to take away 4 of those, I think that's wishful thinking. EJ, I don't know if you're joking or not. I'm just saying. There might be some people who believe that, but to all of a sudden think that he is the reason why this series is where it's at, I think that would be the wrong lane to go, in my opinion. Let's go to Benny Thomson. Benny, what do you got?
Hi, guys. To me, all the topics you guys have brought up, yes, totally agree. They don't check well. They don't dictate play. They don't have this killer instinct to win the games. Those, to me, though, through a series, those are all fixable. I don't have faith in this team to come back and win this series for those reasons, but for the main fact that McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman all look hurt. And I'm not saying that's an excuse as to why they're down by any means, but we've seen the Oilers go down in multiple series and come back and pull themselves out and start playing the best they can. I don't think it's possible with where they're at right now. McDavid is clearly hurt, clearly banged up. He had a couple rushes in the third period that he looked normal for, but he still isn't the same. Nugent Hopkins has gone to sleep. Bouchard I thought was a little bit better today, but still nowhere near what the Bouchard I think everyone's wanting him to be. Hyman's hurt. Draisaitl's tweaked something. They don't have the mojo, guys. To me, just when you watch this game, it doesn't look like a team that can win a series here. And even if they somehow win 3 straight and they go on and they play Utah or Vegas, they're not getting any healthier. There's going to be no rest here. If they win this series, they're going to 7. There's no rest to be had here. So, yeah, to me, I've lost faith that they're going to come back and win this series. In terms of tonight's game, I agree with what Twitter Mary, I think, texted in. Great first 15 minutes. You scored goals the way we were talking about how you needed to in the pregame show. Simple. Fire the puck on net, see what happens. And you see the Kapanen goal in the rebound, and Nugent Hopkins' shot hits a skate and goes in. Fantastic. You've needed to simplify your game. You did. Yeah. Problem is that they let chances leak as the game went on. The Ducks ate away at it, and the Oilers didn't have a killer instinct to hold on to that lead. So, yeah, guys, I know. I've always looked at this team as a glass half full, and I have optimism for this team most of the time. But to me, solely on the injuries and the way that they're playing, I have no faith that this is going to turn around. I think I won't say they're done Tuesday night. They may squeak one out and win at home ice, but I don't think this series is going to be made out well. I think it's done this series.
Go ahead, Bellsy, if you got something.
Well, I know that guys are hurt. I do. And this is not disrespectful to them. I just think McDavid and Draisaitl, even at their worst, are better than 80% of the league.
Yeah.
But there's other guys that have played hurt. There's guys that have played with punctured lungs, broken feet, broken ribs. But when you watch the team, it looks like there's just not a willingness to want to push. That's my biggest concern. And I'm not taking a shot at anybody. But to me, when I watch them, I'm just... You say you want to consistently go for championships. You want to consistently be in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Well, tell me if this is a team that's motivated to be in the Stanley Cup championships. And I'm not saying that there's not like all the guys. It looks different. Like the Ducks literally are flying around the ice. They want it. They are not second to any puck. They're first on every puck. And when you see teams that are like that, and they make you earn, every ounce of ice, that's a team to me. When I watch it, I go, okay, man, that team wants it. And to Reid's point, to tell me any moment in the last 4 games that you saw that from the Oilers consistently, not for 5 minutes here, not for 10 minutes there, consistently being like dogging the puck, consistently just being in people's hip pockets, consistently hitting, consistently creating scrums, consistently blocking shots. You don't see it. And if you're in the Stanley Cup playoffs, that's a problem. If you don't see that, watch any other series. And you see that every single time from all these different teams, but unfortunately right now you're not seeing it from the Oilers. That is a bit of a problem. And I get it, they're hurt. And I'm not taking shots at anybody, but it's just like, it's tough.
I was going to bring up, Bells, you kind of got to it anyway, but I was going to bring up, regardless of the injuries, how much hockey they've played, what we saw for the first 15 minutes in this game where they asserted themselves, they were quick to the puck, they had a tenacity about them, that they won some battles, and it ultimately led to a 2-0 lead. Like, if you can do that for 15 minutes, despite the injuries and the list of other things I said, why can't you do it for the majority of the game? If you can dig deep for the start, why can't you do it for the majority of the game? If you can prove and show us that all the stuff that's hampering you, you can rise above it for a good chunk of a game. 15 out of 60 minutes is a good chunk of the game. Why can't you continue it? Maybe they wear down. Maybe they get worn down. Maybe the Ducks push back and they can't hold the fort. I don't know, but like sometimes teams can lock it in despite their injuries, and this team can't. So I'm answering my own question here.
Yeah, and that to me is just disappointing watching that. And because even if a team is worn down, like you should still see some fight. And I know that we're all disappointed right now in the game, and they've lost and they're down 3-1. I do think the team's got fight. I do think the team's got pride, and they want to win. So with what I'm saying, like I'm not taking away what they've done to this point. But there's like that second and third effort that you don't see. There's that doggedness that you don't see. So that's kind of like where I'm sitting there saying, like, is it like where are they at mentally?
They're gassed,
That's a
buddy.
good point. And even in the offensive end, I mean, yes, they've scored on rebounds, but how often is it like rebound, another chance, digging for it, another chance, digging for it? Like, yeah, Kapanen, good play to go to the net, score on the rebound for sure. Right? Which one? Yeah, Kapanen in the first minute. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they're not busy in the offensive end. And then I know we've talked to death about their play in the other end and through the neutral zone. And the thing is, like, in some ways, this might have been their best game of the series.
Yeah,
I mean, but they still wind up losing. I just want to point out a couple other things. Before this series, I thought Edmonton would likely have the special teams advantage, so that's flipped. I mean, that's the beauty, or the Oilers fans, the agony of the playoffs, is that not all trends continue into the playoffs because it's pared down. It's the same team over and over again for couple of weeks. But we got to hand it to the Ducks here. And one thing I didn't think would keep up for the Ducks, and it probably won't long term. I mean, I don't think they're good enough to win the Stanley Cup either. Nor is Edmonton. But I mean, they were so good in 1-goal games and close games. They went 8-0 in shootouts. I mean, if they went 4-4 in shootouts, they might have missed the playoffs. So. But they were. I double checked. They were 24-6-6 in 1-goal games in the regular season, third best in the NHL.
That's pretty damn good.
So somehow they're comfortable playing these games and obviously playing from behind, even though they're a younger team. So that's pretty impressive, and they did it again tonight. I mean, they came back again, and then it goes to overtime, and well, yeah, they got a bounce, but they put in the work and the tenacity and did repeatable things to get that chance and to get that bounce in overtime. Like, they're just showing the goal again. I'll say this as well. I thought Tristan Jarry had a very good game.
He made some very good saves.
I mean, again, 1 goal, 5-on-5 in 3 periods. I couldn't fault him for any goal. I thought, again, he was busier than Dostal. I thought he faced more grade A chances than Dostal, though that Dostal stop on McDavid.
That was great.
With about just under 5 minutes left, that was probably his best and most important save of the series. So they put Jarry in, and he rose to the occasion.
Give him credit for that.
So he stopped in regulation. He stopped 33 out of 36, 34 out of 38. So I guess his save percentage will dip below. But he made a lot of good saves. I mean, obviously the overtime goal would be. Sure, you don't want it to leak through.
It banked off of Darnell
Nurse. Nurse's skate, and there's really no time to react. If it finds a hole as a goalie, you're kind of screwed. So that good for him, I will say. I know it's not enough to get the win, but I mean, I know a lot of Oilers fans were nervous that it was going to be 4 goals on the first 7 shots, or that he wouldn't look comfortable. He looked quite good. Like, as the game went on, I was like, no, like, he's going to stop it unless it's a really good opportunity.
Yeah.
So he rose to the occasion. I would guess they come back with him in Game 5, maybe after a game like this. I'm not sure. Now I'm really not sure which goalie they're going to go with.
Listen, I think they probably go back to him. Unless you guys, Benny or Bellsy, do you think that they go back to Ingram? Because I think that was... Reid laid it out nicely. Like, he was good. Maybe he can build off this. The Ducks seem to have found a way to beat Ingram consistently, whether it's traffic or in front, scrambles. Jarry had a good game, proved himself well. And I was surprised by it. I thought that the Ducks would probably tee off on him. They still beat him for 4, but it took 38 shots. Boys, what do you think about the goaltending?
Yeah, I don't know, like, if I would change anything. To me, is it really the goaltending that's been the issue?
No.
I thought he made big saves. I thought he was composed in the net. I thought he gave them an opportunity to win the game. So I'd be hard pressed to think they're going to do something different. But at the same time, like, Ingram kind of had the net for most of the year, right? He took the net away from Jarry when they both got to Edmonton. So I really don't know. It's a great question. But to me, it's like, it's details. It's all details, and that's the thing that's going to be different.
And here's a detail. They're showing the overtime goal over and over again here on Sportsnet at BP Westgate. So why is Nurse's skate in the crease? Because he's in a puck battle with an Anaheim guy. And I'm not saying Nurse did anything wrong. He's trying to keep that guy out of the crease, trying to keep his stick from deflecting the puck. But Anaheim, just relentless, always in the right place, always trying to do the right thing. So, the timing worked out. It's a bad break, but Anaheim is working for those breaks. You know, I'm not sure. I think they gave Poehling the goal. I don't know if was it McTavish in front. I'm not sure. I thought it was McTavish's goal at first.
Poehling fired it on net.
I think they gave it to Poehling.
They gave it to Poehling.
Who's ever there is in a good battle with Nurse. You know, they're kind of both doing their thing, but that guy's not backing down. He's not backing off or thinking like, oh, maybe I got to go behind the net. And I don't even think Nurse won or lost the battle. He just happened to spin in that direction, and it turned out to be the wrong time. But that's because Anaheim is always there. They're committed, and are not going away. And not necessarily like, I'm not saying like the Orders are going away, but their level of attention to detail and their hunger just is not the same. And I think that's what Bellsy, like as someone who never played in the NHL, I'm always reluctant to criticize effort. And I noticed a lot of ex-players, and I get to work with some now, I've worked with some in the past, usually won't criticize flat-out effort. They'll criticize, usually like Brownie always say, work smarter, not harder.
Right.
Yeah.
But Gagers brought it up, Bellsy, and I know you guys probably don't like saying that, but the fact that you both have noticed, like, for crying out loud, like you gotta bear down here, or like find something or put more into it. To me, that's very telling.
Yeah, I just think I do think they're trying. I do think they care, but I just don't think that second, third effort where it's consistent, it's dogs on bone mentality. Like, I just see the Ducks doing it. And, too often, if a defenseman has the puck, he's left on a bit of an island because the forwards are all blowing the zone. Like, where are you guys going? Come back, please. Give me a 5-foot pass and to support with speed, and then the next guy can make a 5-foot pass and then try to jump to the next hole. But right now it's like it's stretch passes 2-3 zones apart, and then what's the next play after that? Well, I can tell you what the next play is that you're trying to chip this thing to speed, but there's no speed because there's a Duck player that's playing above the centerman. And so it becomes a turnover and it goes back the other way. And then you have a terrible gap because you're standing at the goal line trying to make these stretch passes. And then by the time it comes back to you, like it's at the blue line, it's coming back to you. So it's the way that they're playing has been really hard to watch because it's not as connected as you'd like to see. And I know this is probably a coaching thing where we're saying, okay, let's stretch it out a little bit. Let's see if we can chip to speed and create races and have opportunities that are outside of our zone. But at the same time, there's something about being connected on breakouts and playing with a little bit more, support. That to me it's been an interesting like chess match, I guess, in that regard.
Well, that's what I find, Bellsy, and I talked about this a lot after the third game, is just the refusal to break out of their zone with a couple of short, crisp passes.
No,
and Anaheim is just eating that up. Let's put a little bit of pressure on. They're going to try a 100-foot pass that you got to be really precise on, and that's why they're not getting the puck into the other end. Look at the first goal of the game. Dickinson. They make a couple passes to get it in. Dickinson intelligently takes it behind the net. Realizes he can't get it to the net, gives it to Wallman, who just shoots it, which was simple. A great start. They finally just made a simple play. Oh, and it winds up in the goal. And then as it went on, they're not getting the puck in. They're not getting the puck to the net other than the McDavid net drive. Did they have...
There was a moment in the second period that is the exact opposite of that. And it was Leon Draisaitl button hooks up between the top of the circle and the blue line in the offensive zone. Mm-hmm. And he had guys going down low, his wingers supporting down low, and he tries to sift the pass 85 feet across. The angle is off the wall and out because nobody's there to stride into it. And it was going from the meat and potatoes, smart, simple, get it down low, do things the right way, which led to success in the same game a period prior, to going back and reverting to, okay, we're going to play the cute way. We're going to do things that we get away with all the time. And guess what? You can't anymore. So the playoffs, the other team's working harder, smarter than you, and they're taking advantage. That's something I noticed. When you bring that up, I think immediately to when we watch Draisaitl try to fire an 85-foot pass across the ice and the blue line, and it comes back the other way. The Oilers have to regroup and try to go back into the offensive zone. It's frustrating stuff like that, Bellsy and Benny and Reid, that I think has really cost this team. And then it leads me to a text that came in via the Capital GMC Buick Nasty Chat over on YouTube. It's from JD McCormick. I like this point that he makes. JD McCormick says the discussion isn't the game-winning goal. 99% know it was in, but the fact that it got to OT at all is the problem.
Oh, for sure. That's what we're saying. You're up 2-0. Granted, it was an early 2-0 lead, but Anaheim just slowly takes over, chips away, ties the game. Edmonton gets the lead, and then really, except for the McDavid rush, which was a great chance.
Yes.
Except for the McDavid rush, I mean, it was 16 and a half minutes of the puck, mostly in the Oilers' end. I mean, Bouchard scored with 16:33 left. The puck was rarely in the Anaheim end after that. Now, again, every time it was in the Oilers' end, it wasn't always dangerous.
No.
There were times the Oilers at least got it out. But Jarry had to make a couple good saves, and this is what I'm saying at the Ducks being relentless, and the percentages are in hockey. If you're in the other team's end 58, 60% of the game, you're going to win most of the games. And that's why the Ducks have won 3 out of the 4 in this series.
How about the discrepancy in time leading? They had the stat at one point, I think in the second period when the Ducks were closing in. They had like 75 minutes, roughly, if I'm remembering correctly, where they've led in this series to Edmonton's 33. Like, how much does that
scored first in every game?
Yeah.
And Anaheim still has led more often.
How much do you think that wears on a team?
So I guess today Edmonton would have had the lead for almost 40 minutes tonight.
Yeah. But there was a point.
More than that.
There was a point where it was the Ducks had more than double the amount of time leading in this series than Edmonton.
Yeah.
Until Edmonton.
Well, and that's again this sensation, guys, that Edmonton's playing uphill and Anaheim's playing downhill.
That's a fair point.
But it also feels that way even when Edmonton's in the lead, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to this one. It's out of the 403 area code. A first-time texter, no name. Says, the chicken carcass cursed the Oilers. Seriously, I didn't think this team would get past the second round, but I'm disappointed that they're doing this badly in the first round. Hontorio Momes with a bunch of texts. I'm going to rattle these off. Says, I know it's easy to blame coaching, but I think it says something for the 29th place defensive team throughout the regular season. For their Hall of Fame coach to ask them to cover the best player in the world and put them out and important positions is how you get team success in playoffs. It's about stories. Chris Knobloch came in doing that, but it's falling into the trap, pardon me. And then there's some other stuff there.
I don't get it. It's about stories. I don't understand that.
You talk about like the coaching discrepancy and experience between Quenneville and Knobloch. Is that what we're getting at?
Well, I mean, we know that we've talked about that. I thought the first text was good. I mean, as the season, even in November, December, I mean, there was a lot of maybe this isn't their year. It's going to be a different year. And then as it got later in the season, it's like, well, maybe they can win their bracket because it won't be a great bracket. So I understand this sentiment that I don't think it's going to shock anybody if and when the Oilers don't win the Stanley Cup this year.
Yeah.
It just might be shocking that they're kind of getting, not dominated, but they're kind of getting boxed out by the Anaheim Ducks of all teams.
Very much so.
And not in 7 games, maybe in 5.
Well, and the other reason why, like, Hontorio Momes had another text there, just the coaching thing. I've seen a lot of it in the chat and in the text line. Hontorio Momes says, Knobloch survived losing to Maurice and Quenneville. Does ownership go for a harder, more experienced guy? I mean, are we there yet, or do we have to wait another loss before we start?
Well, we got to wait till the series is over.
Yeah. Belzy, you want to wait?
Yeah, I mean, I can wait for that, but I mean, you change a coach. Does that put some snarl into your lineup? Does that give you the blank you attitude when you're playing? Like I've got Sportsnet on, and the Montreal game was on, and Montreal's up 2-0, and Slafkovsky gets absolutely blown up because a guy decides, you know what, I'm going to go change this game right now, and he destroys this guy, and then all of a sudden, guess what? The game turns. McDavid's a game changer. Draisaitl's a game changer. But those guys, there's other guys that need to be able to impact the game as well. And right now, I just don't personally see that on this particular team. So if you change the coach, is that just going to magically show up? Or is there a bit of a, and I'm not defending the coach, but I'm just saying, like, there's some there's some holes in the lineup, I guess.
Yeah, I like how you put that, Bellsy, about changing the game. I hadn't thought of that, and I wonder if the Oilers have players who aren't trying to change the game; they're just trying to survive the game.
Yeah, I mean, somebody go run somebody as hard as you possibly can. Like, just do something to impact the game. Like, yeah, I can go on the longest rant about this because I've watched enough playoff hockey in the last little bit to have this rant. But it just, to me, it's like, hey, I get it. Connor and Leon are that good. Bouchard is a game changer on the offensive end. I get it. But at the end of the day, when your team is starting to lose a little bit of momentum, who's the guy that's going to go out there and do something to just say, hey, I'm going to settle everything right back down. I'm going to change this game because of a big hit. And I'm not even talking about fighting. I'm just saying, like, I'm just going to start running around. Who's doing that?
Yep.
Nobody. Answer is nobody. Okay. Keep texting us, 780-218-9999, the Capital GMC Buick inbox. Get into the nasty chat as well over on YouTube. Edmonton falls 4-3 in overtime, is now down 3-1 to the Ducks in this series, coming home on the brink of elimination. Tom and Reid live on location at Boston Pizza, 170th. We had a great time here until the end of the game. Big thank you to Tony and the staff here. Bellsy at his satellite studios, and then you got Benny Thomson back at EST Global HQ. And Benny, do we have some clips that we could throw to before we continue on here?
Yeah, let's hear from Matthias Ekholm from the Honda Center tonight.
But it's difficult, or is it difficult to keep this Anaheim team below 3 in a night? Is it hard to keep them from scoring because they're a good offensive team?
I mean, I guess that's something that we have evidence in 4 games now that it has been hard for us. Thought we played better defensively tonight. Obviously, we gotta stay out of the box and be better on the kill. But 5-on-5, I thought we took a step in the right direction. Tough ending, obviously, but hey, 7 games, first of 4. We got experience in here of these situations, and we got to go back home, win a home game, and go from there.
What did you think of the overtime goal, just the way it unfolded? What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, you guys saw it on the screen. We saw it on the TV down on the bench. I don't know how they see it as a conclusive goal. I just don't. To be honest, maybe there's somebody that can prove me otherwise. Doesn't really matter, to be honest. They called it a goal, and we'll have to buy with that.
This is obviously a very disappointing loss, but like you said, you're an experienced team to be able to kind of put this away. Now you have to kind of climb a mountain. You guys have done this before in that final 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, you just look at last year, going down 2-0 against LA and coming back winning 4 straight. So this group has done it before, and not a position we want to be in, obviously, but here we are, and I got all the confidence in the world we can go home, win 1 game, and put them on their heels.
Well, that's good, Matthias Ekholm. Hopefully that confidence comes through. Ekholm tonight, donuts across the board, 19:33 time on ice, 1 block shot, 2 giveaways for the big Viking. All right, 780-218-9999, Capital GMC Buick inbox. We want to hear from you. Tom Dixon's mustache says, a lot of the points that have been discussed tonight are obvious to most of us watching the games. The coaches and the players can't be this oblivious. So is it the coaches refusing to change systems, or is it the players not willing to play different? And I'm going to lump that in with another text from Steady Eddie, who says, as always, listen to the postgame at some point, just once. Can Knobloch lose it after a missed call and get in the ref's head? Phil Jackson was the master. John Cooper may be his NHL equivalent, and Quenneville knows how to use that tactic. Knobloch never gets after the officials, and it's a detriment to the team because refs do get that in their head and make up calls. Follow. Bellsy, I want to throw that grenade at you.
Nope. And I'm going to kick it over to you guys. No, just kidding. I don't know. Sometimes it's just demeanor. Sometimes you try to build a rapport with the ref so that you're buddies with them. sometimes you have to light them up. It's hard because Knoblauch he's not an emotional guy. When you watch him on the bench, he's there, he's calm, he's cool and collected. In the room, is it a little bit different? Maybe not. I mean, there has been some clips that have popped out where he has laid into the team, but I do think every now and then you do have to, show a little fire for your team. I do actually think that, because then it's like, hey, my coach has my back. Doesn't have to be all the time, few and far between, but just a little bit. So I'm not gonna. It's tough because different coaches they have different personalities and they go about doing things differently. So I can't really critique who he is as a person.
You want to touch on that at all?
Not really. I mean,
Okay.
I've talked about that a lot over the years.
Yep.
So, I mean, if people don't like his demeanor, then that's fine.
He's the coach right now. So
That's just who he is, right?
That's right. All right, Bellsy. So game number 5 is Tuesday back here in Edmonton at Rogers Place. What's the outlook for the Oilers as they try to stay alive on Tuesday?
Well, they're going to have as much desperation as they've had all year, because if they don't have any form of desperation, they'll be out in 5. I still think the Oilers can turn this into a series. I still have faith in this hockey team. I still think they have the best players, quote unquote, in the series. But guys need to start going, and they got to stop playing, on their heels, and they got to start playing on their toes. It doesn't matter if the team's faster than you. Find a way to grind it out, be gritty, and just play an overall harder style of hockey. And then if you do that, you probably can turn it into a series. But if it's consistently just backpedal, well, good luck, because this team that they're facing is young and hungry, and they really want it. So I think the Oilers have the experience to do it. Let's turn it into a series.
All right, Bellsy, good stuff tonight, buddy. We will catch up with you this week. Thank you as always, my friend.
Always a pleasure, boys.
There you go. There's our game analyst, Shawn Belle, helping us break down Edmonton's 4-3 overtime loss in Game 4, down 3-1, heading home to take on the Ducks in Game 5 Tuesday and looking to extend this series. They are on the ropes. All right, can we go? This is what we're going to do. Tell me if you're good with this, Reid. We're going to hear from someone in the locker room. Then we'll get to Reid's read. Then Benny and I will wrap up the show.
Of course, yeah. It's your show, baby.
Well, no, you're part of this show, too. You've got a big part of it. Benny, any thoughts before we go into the room? And I'll let you pick who we hear from next.
No, not really.
Okay.
I'm deflated.
Sometimes that's okay.
Here's Connor McDavid from the Oilers locker room tonight.
We're encouraged by the way you guys played and have the lead in the third period and just finally able to close it out.
Yeah, obviously disappointing. Thought we did a good job of putting ourselves in some pretty good spots and just didn't find a way to get it done.
This is a veteran team that's kind of been in these situations before, having to climb a mountain. Just give me your thoughts on having to climb this one here and trying to get out of this hole.
Yeah, we're in a hole. We're in a hole, no doubt about it. Got to find a way to get a win at home.
Did you think that puck was over the line?
I haven't really seen it.
The trouble for your team, you play good defensively tonight. They still get to 3. You've had a hard time keeping this team from scoring at least 3 or more every night. Is it their offensive play that's just superior, or can you do a better job and find a way to stop these guys from scoring?
Obviously the PK goals hurt. They score 2 on the power play, and they tie it on kind of a playoff point shot that someone bangs in. It just, but there were some good signs for sure.
Did you think, what were your thoughts on the overtime goal? Not so much whether it's over the line or not, but just the kind of goal it turned out to be.
Yeah, not exactly an oil painting of a goal, but it's playoff time, and you throw pucks there, and sometimes you get rewarded, and they obviously were tonight.
What's the state of your health? How healthy are you right now?
Yeah, I feel we're all doing the best we can out there. We're all working, and we're all trying to get it done.
You had a couple of stellar chances at the end of the game that didn't go in. Can you comment on any of those, or some of the things that are keeping you, that they're doing to cover you?
It's not really about Connor McDavid here. This is about 2 teams that are trying to figure each other out, and obviously they're playing well, and we've got another level as a group. But I still thought there were some good signs tonight.
Tristan hasn't played in a while. It comes in and gives you that type of effort tonight. Because what does it say?
Yeah, he gave us a chance to win. That's all you can ask for.
You guys had multiple leads tonight. Just what did you feel like was the turning point for you guys?
Probably when they tied it up there. I don't know. I thought we were doing a good job of keeping them at bay mostly. They find a rebound in front and tie it and get a bounce there in overtime, and that's the difference.
Okay, there's Connor McDavid, very dejected, disappointed, didn't want to touch the question about his health, and gave me a confirmation on something that we're going to do later on in the show. As we get into Reid's Reid, brought to you by Ewell, your power play specialist. Ewell has the gear you need for your next electrical project with 3 Edmonton area locations, and you can order online anytime at ewell.ca. Ewell, your Edmonton-based partner in power and source for all things electrical. I want to read these stats as I tee up Reid on Reid's Reid. They come from Brian Swain, who likes to send in a lot of great stats to us. Says Oilers blown leads this series 6. Oilers blown leads the first 3 rounds combined last year, also 6. Oilers all-time when trailing 3-1. Lose series in 5 games 4 times. Minnesota 91, Colorado 97, Dallas 98, Dallas in 2000. Lose series in 6 games 1 time. Islanders 81. Lose series in 7 games 1 time. Florida in 24. Win series in 7 games. They've done it twice. Winnipeg in 90. They won the cup that year. And Colorado in 98, where they had that incredible, they were down 3-0. And I think they came all the way back from 3-0, or was
3-1.
it just 3-1?
3-1.
Yeah, okay. And then they ended up shutting out Colorado in Game 7.
6 and 7, I believe.
Yeah, Cujo was amazing. All right, Reid, take it away. Reid's Reid.
Well, first of all, just with this goal, I understand the frustration as to why would the referee say it was a goal on the ice when he didn't call it a goal immediately. Like it or not, referees can discuss things. And they can all get together and he can say, I think it was in. Yes, he probably should have pointed or called to that.
Something, yeah.
But they also are allowed to talk to their colleagues and say, okay, does anybody have a kick? Or does anybody have the net off? Or does anybody, was it covered before I think I saw it go in?
Yeah.
It's not perfect. It's frustrating. But they would have reviewed it anyway. Yeah. And it was over the line. So, well, look, the season's on the line. I get the Oilers were, oddly enough, in some ways, this was their best game of the series. It still wasn't good enough, and they still got outchanced and they got outshot. So hopefully they can just find another level of commitment and detail to make Game 5 a season extender. And there are 2 teams out there. I continue to give credit to the Ducks. Now, the Ducks have answered every question mark I've had for them so in this series.
Yeah.
Now, how do they answer the question of, well, you're supposed to win. You're supposed to finish these guys off.
Hardest one is the 4th one.
So,
right?
How do they react to that? And we have seen the last couple of games, they haven't been great in the first few minutes. It didn't take them that long to recover in Game 3. Maybe a little longer tonight. Yep. So, can the Oilers get out there and maybe actually put them in a significant hole where it's harder to come back, or maybe they feel like, oh crap, this isn't our night. That might be a long shot given how it's going, because even when the Oilers do land a punch or 2, Anaheim comes back with more of their own.
Yep.
But hey, they all start 0-0, so maybe the Oilers have some magic in them here.
Buddy, great stuff as always. Thank you for joining me here at Boston Pizza 170th. I hope you had a good time.
I really did. It was nice watching the game with you.
I enjoy watching hockey games with you. We'll do it again on Tuesday.
Okay.
There you go. There's Reid Wilkins with Reid's Reid, brought to you by Ewell, your power play, or your Edmonton-based partner in power and source for all things electrical. Great stuff from Reid, as always. Okay, Benny Thomson, we're getting close to midnight. Poor Mariah sitting here. She's waiting for us to wrap up. We have a couple minutes left. We have to get to a couple of things. How long was Jarry's postgame?
Jarry's postgame was 1:54.
Perfect. Let's run Jarry's postgame, then we'll wrap things up with a couple of texts as well as the turning point and player of the games.
So maybe that's my opinion of watching you, but what was your opinion on the overtime winner? it's hard. We were just looking at it in there, and you really can't tell. I'm sure you could go either way with it. You could say it's a goal, it's no goal. There's going to be opinions about it, and obviously on the losing side of it, we didn't think it went in, but it's tough.
Can you just describe the play? What did you see on that play?
Just kind of battle in the corner, and it just gets thrown to the middle, and it's just unlucky. Unlucky bounce goes off of a skate and just kind of bounces right between my legs, and it just kept going and just died behind me.
Yeah, you play a really strong game too, especially for a guy that hasn't played in a while. And it ends that way. It doesn't seem fair, frankly. It's kind of a bad break on the end of a good night. Is that fair?
Yeah, you never want to be on that side of it. It's tough to lose that way. It's tough to kind of have the indecision of that, but I guess that's the way it goes, and you obviously wish it could have went the other way.
Coming in, you look comfortable from the beginning. I guess, how did you feel going in? Like Mark said, it'd been a while since you had to start.
Yeah, I think it was just making sure I was ready from the start. Obviously, every series is long, and you always need both goalies, so it was just making sure I was staying sharp in practice, doing everything I needed, just in case I did get the call, and yeah.
I know you haven't been here around a long time, but this is a veteran group that's come back from series before. I guess just your thought on trying to climb out of this hole.
Yeah, we have no doubt. Obviously, we get to go home and play a game, and that's a big one for us. It's a must-win, so we're pretty confident that we could do it on home ice.
Okay, there's Tristan Jarry, 38 shots faced, 34 saves. The other guy makes... I'm not going to put it on Jarry, man. I thought he made some really good saves. So, Dostal hasn't been great in this series. The Oilers haven't gotten anywhere near the volume shots that Anaheim has. And, they get the one extra one that just trickles behind Jarry at the end of the night. That brings us to the turning point of the game. The turning point of the game brought to you by Say the Reid Sport Medicine. Connor McDavid's got a team of specialists. You have a bag of frozen peas. Get the same locker room approach trusted by the best in the game at Say the Reid Sport Medicine. Book your assessment today, www.saythereidsportmedicine or www.saythereidsportmed.ca or call 780-460-9977. Speaking of Connor McDavid, he gave away the turning point of the game. I know that the game-winning goal was crucial. Obviously, puts the Oilers on the brink of elimination. Controversy surrounding it, the review. Why didn't they challenge this? Ultimately, they got the call right, but McDavid said it. The equalizer from Jeff Viel, of all people. He's had two very important goals for the Anaheim Ducks, and I think that's another indicator, red flag, whatever you want to call it, as to why this series is not going Edmonton's way. A guy like Jeffrey Viel has two goals in the last two games, and important ones from John Carlson and Jackson Lacombe at 13:31 when the Oilers had restored the lead earlier, about 10 minutes prior, on a nice shot by Evan Bouchard on the power play, on a night where the power play was very good, 2 for 2. Jeffrey Viel gets the Ducks back in it, maybe brings back the hope for the Ducks, and then in overtime, just a couple minutes in, 2:29 in, Ryan Poehling off a I'm still, Benny, looking at what Trent Frederick did, not getting that puck out of the zone. Like, you can't do that.
Yep.
You can't do that. Anyway, Viel's goal is the turning point of the game.
Drysdale couldn't get the puck out on Viel's goal. That was he chips it out and gets batted down and keeps it alive. Like it just was a lack of execution from a lot of guys. Veteran guys making those mistakes too. Guys that know better. Not should know better. Guys that know better. And that's why this team's losing this series right now and on the cusp of going home and hitting the Lynx wherever they may do that this summer. Okay, Benny, take it away for the player of the game. The David Bunting Real Estate Player of the Game. David Bunting has been a consistent top-producing realtor in the greater Edmonton area for almost 20 years. He and his team would love to help you find the right home or make the move from your current home, community-driven. He understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out on DamonBunting.com or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. To me, this one's pretty easy. Keeping within my rules of a non-3-star Oiler and Tristan Jarry tonight. To me, what I saw that he was starting tonight, not gonna lie, I think I can speak for a lot of people. Confused, ticked off,
I'm one of them.
Like hand up was like yeah, just not for it. Was not the guy. He was the third option for me tonight to play this game in net for the Oilers. But with that being said, he played really damn well. An .895 save percentage, which is like league average, by the way. Below 900 isn't that bad anymore, at least at an .895. But made some huge saves at crucial times. Again,
yes, he did.
The Oilers, their defensive play was better today than it was in Game 3, but it still wasn't perfect. And so there was chances that they leaked, but Tristan Jarry was right there to hold them in it. I don't really blame them for any of the goals that went in today. Like, a lot of them were just bad defensive lapses. Like, we're talking about it. Like, the Oilers' defensive
shot was sick.
Like that was ridiculous. That's a 40-goal scorer. Just rips it right by the ear. The Oilers' defensive style right now is like a collapse, but a collapse that doesn't check in front of their own net. Like, it's such a it's such a flawed system to me, and you're seeing that with a VL goal where it's just they're not charging the point. They're not going to take away the point shot. They want this point shot to happen so that the puck comes in and the rebound and no one's taking their guy in front of the net and it's a goal. So again, I don't blame it on Tristan Jarry whatsoever. Good for him. He had a ton of pressure on him tonight. A ton. If he has a game like he was having near the final stretch of that season, I think we're talking about this post-game show probably more negatively and talking about how the Oilers are just, they don't even have a goalie to save him tonight. Tristan Jarry was good tonight, so he's going to be player of the game.
Well done. Player of the game brought to you by Damon Bunting Real Estate. All right, couple texts to wrap things up here. It's late. We're past midnight on a Sunday, and don't you worry. Dusty and Eric and YouTube Trev are going to have a ton to talk about in 6 hours on the Nielsen Show featuring Lieutenant Eric right here on EST. Taxman texting in says, I truly believe Knobloch is coaching for his job right now. If I was his PR guy, I'd tell him to finally show some passion in the media, take the fine, and call out the officiating on the quote-unquote good goal on the ice. BS. Take all the attention and heat right now. It would be refreshing, even if that puck is in. The process that they went through was a joke. Knobloch's team needs some fire. Take the fine. Fire the boys up. That one from Taxman. Nash and Whitecourt says, this game felt like it's over. We're going to try and follow the Riverhawks more this year. So maybe that will help. Nash, the Riverhawks are great. They're a lot of fun. They do a lot of tremendous things. And when the time comes, yes, indeed, we'll get on the Riverhawks bandwagon. Ranger Nick texting in says, I think the defense played good. To be honest, Nurse played well. Yeah, that's just a tough bounce off of his skate. Again, I'm looking at the guys not getting pucks out. Like you heard Benny say, Draisaitl on the third goal, and then Trent Frederick on the OT winner. What else? Marty McFly from Red Deer. Let's just ask Tommy what needs to happen. He knows the Oilers so well. Yeah, outside of a couple of things that I've gotten wrong that I admitted to, I generally do. Marty McFly from Red Deer. I know them pretty much as good as anyone else. So I'll own that. They've got a lot of... I'll tell you this, Marty. I'll give you this one for free, Marty McFly. When this season ends, there's going to be a lot of stuff that needs to get sorted out with the hockey ops side because it ain't working that good. And then they're going to have to figure out what they want to do with their players because it ain't working that good. So take that one to the bank, Marty McFly. You want to be a jackass? I'll be a jackass right back. Let's go to Hammy from Saskatoon. Says Connor should be embarrassed that he's at year 10, still can't go out and shut down some young up-and-coming star. He should go watch some Andrei Kopitar film during his long summer. All right, Benny. Anything else? Final thoughts from you?
Yeah, I mean, to me, I feel like I've always been a glass half full, optimistic guy all year with this team. Even through their struggles early in the season, I always felt that the old Oilers would come back a little bit. This team was too experienced and thought they would dig themselves out of the holes they've put themselves in all season long. I don't have faith in this team right now in this series. I don't. I will gladly eat crow on this if they come back and win this series. Gladly. Please scream at me if I'm wrong on this. But to me, when I look at this team, they just don't have it. They don't. Connor McDavid is hurt. Draisaitl's hurt. Hyman is hurt. Bouchard's not playing the same. Nuge isn't playing the same. Their special the PK can't stop a power play. Like there's so many things that are lining up, and you're expecting all that to change just to win this series. Then let alone if you win this series, McDavid's not going to get healthier, Draisaitl's not going to get healthier, Hyman's not going to get healthier, and then you have to go play another one. You expect this team to go win a Stanley Cup? I have a very hard time believing it. So I really don't think it's the worst thing in the world that this team loses in the first round. And they get a long summer, a big reset. They can retool, do whatever they need to do. With that being said, no team has gotten to 4 wins yet. So I guess we'll see if that happens on Tuesday night. But yeah, tonight they probably played their best game in the series and still lost. That's not very motivating. So I guess we'll see how it all unfolds at home. Rogers plays Tuesday night. See how it goes.
Yes, indeed. We'll be at the Canadian Ice House live on location for pre and post game as well. I'm going to end it with Eddie. Steady Eddie says, I'm so pissed I just cracked a bottle of white wine. That's serious desperation. However, they can win the series. Fully believe it because this sucks. The team doesn't know how tough it is to close out a series, but it will take its toll. Need Utah, Vegas to beat each other up too. So looking on the bright side as Steady Eddie hits up a bottle of white wine. Whatever you need, do it safely. Hopefully it helps you feel better. Oil Country, a tough one tonight as the Oilers fall 4-3 on the brink of elimination going into Tuesday's matchup. A big thank you to everybody here at Boston Pizza 170th, everyone who showed up, all the nasties. Great time, great giveaways. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Mariah, who's still here. She wants to go home, and we're going to call it a night. Edmonton looking to stay alive on Tuesday night. The boys get you going at 6 a.m. with the Nielsen Show featuring Lieutenant Eric. A big thank you to everybody who watched, everybody who listened. Hit the thumbs up on the way out. For Ben, for Reid, for Bellsy, I'm Tommy saying have a great night, everyone. We will see you tomorrow.